city who have volunteered, and we've been appointed by City Council to consider applications to the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Housing Board of Appeals, the Construction Board of Appeals, and for accommodations for persons with disabilities. We must interpret each application as it relates to the city ordinances. We are not empowered to rezone or to take any action that would be considered rezoning. The agenda is in the order of the applications that were received. We have one application tonight. We need to have 4 board members for quorum and 4 concurring votes to approve applications. And we ask that when the application is called, we ask that the applicant come to the microphone, state your name and address. We'll hear the applicant first, and then we will ask questions. We'll have a dialogue with the applicant, with our board. And then we will have a public hearing after that, where people can then, the general public can come up and speak in favor or against. And we could start that, the formalities. We start with, anyone who wishes to support it, and then followed by anybody who wishes to oppose it, but I'm not gonna hold that order. We'll soon be changing that rule anyways. After the public hearing is closed, unfortunately, there will be no other opportunity for further public comment related to that application. So the decisions we make are final and are effective on the day of the decision. Applicants may appeal decisions to the circuit court in accordance with state law. So you don't have to stick around for our deliberation and decision. You can call Community and Neighborhood Services Department tomorrow morning to learn the results. These meetings are streamed live online on the city's YouTube channel, so everything is being recorded. And if we don't have any changes to our agenda, I'll have the clerk read our first item, please.
All right, the first item is for 1327 Bayview Drive, application number 23.01Z. Dennis Jacobs, prospective buyer, is requesting a special exception to divide the parcel at 1327 Bayview Drive into 3 parcels, with 1 parcel being a flag lot. The proposed flag lot would have 20 feet of access to Bayview Drive. The Board of Appeals can approve this request if certain conditions are found to exist.
Okay, thank you. So I believe we have our applicant here. So if you wouldn't mind, please come on forward, state your name, address.
Good evening. Bill Sickle, 42 East Lakewood Boulevard in Holland, and I'm here this evening on behalf of Dennis Jacobs, who's also with me and is available to answer questions as well.
Okay. Bill, if you wouldn't mind taking us through the application, please.
You bet. You bet. So the property at 1327 Bayview is a single tax parcel. It's located in your LDR district. Mr. Jacob intends to divide that property into 3 parcels as shown in the application. One of those 3 parcels, the middle of the 3, I guess to describe it as, would be considered a flag lot under your zoning ordinance for that. So that lot and that lot only requires special exception approval from this group here this evening. You'll note that there's an existing house on the parcel. That house, the intention is for that house to remain. And in fact, one of the reasons why the lots were created in the way they were was to make sure that that house could stay that way. So we meet the necessary setbacks, and that house would remain. So then we kind of worked off of that as we looked to configure the rest of the lots. And the only way to make that work would be to do this as a flag lot. The 3 lots that are there, I know they may look small on paper, but if you look at the surrounding community and you look at the rest of those lots on Bayview, these are actually 3 of the larger lots on Bayview. I did a little poking around on GIS today, and most of those other lots are 0.17 acres, 0.18 acres. These lots are 0.9 to 0.3 acres, so hard to imagine that these are 3 of the larger ones, but they are similar to what exists out there currently. And in fact, if you go to the other end of Bayview, where it enters, Mr. Jacobs a few years back did a similar project there, and you'll see right on that corner there were 3 lots that he configured in a similar fashion there, one of which was a flag lot and received special exception from this group a few years back. Under your ordinance, the applicable section is 39-12.12D5. And it indicates that the Board of Appeals may approve a flag lot request if it determines the following. So I'll just walk through those standards and talk about the project generally for you. So The first standard there is whether or not the proposed flag lot has a 20-foot wide legal access to a public street. It does do that. If you look at the pictures that we sent to you, you can see that there is a 20-foot wide access at the public street, so we satisfy that condition. The second condition is whether or not the lot meets the area and width requirements of the zone district that they're located within. And we've confirmed with staff that, in fact, the lots that are being proposed do meet lot and area width requirements. The third standard looks at whether or not the property split shall be compatible and harmonious with the established character of adjacent and nearby residentially developed lands, and shall not have a detrimental effect on the reasonable enjoyment of adjacent properties. I think, as I indicated a few minutes ago, these lots are very similar to the way the rest of the street has been developed, and in fact being larger than the other lots. So we believe that it is in character and harmony with the rest of the lots in the neighborhood. Fourth standard asks whether or not the additional curb cut will have a negative impact on traffic safety and efficiency. As you can see, this is at the end of a cul-de-sac. This is not a very busy road. There's just a couple of houses past this. Small amount of traffic. Most of these other lots all have narrow driveways. We don't think there's going to be any negative impact on traffic given the low volume of traffic that's there. The fifth standard looks at whether or not it's served by city water and sewer, which it is. And then the sixth is whether or not it complies with the Land Division Act and master plan and so on and so forth. And we've discussed that with staff and believe that it meets that requirement as well. So that's the project in an overview. It's fairly straightforward. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions from our board? I had a question. Was there anything on these, in this area prior? Were there any homes here before?
I don't believe so. Do you?
Yes.
There was?
There were 3 originally.
Okay.
So, okay, all right, so we're confirming there were 3 homes there originally many years ago,
Less than,
counting the existing one that's there now? So there were 2 additional,
Correct. And it's
Homes.
3 lots of record right now, right? It's a single tax parcel, but it's actually 3 lots of record underlying it. And if you look on the drawing, one of the pages that we had, if you look at this drawing right here,
Okay.
you see this? And if you look at this schematic down here in the lower right-hand corner, you can see what those lots looked like. You can see where it says 5 and 6. If you see where I'm showing, right in the corner, they show the 3 original lots of record there. So lot 5 was one lot, lot 6 was a lot, and then you can see the flag lot in between the 2 of them. The new proposed property lines are different than what the original platted lots of record were, primarily because the existing house straddles lot 5. Okay, so
Okay.
we wouldn't be able to do that configuration anymore.
Sure.
Otherwise, we would have just ran with the lots of record and done that. But that's not a possibility given how that house sits, and they did want to preserve that. So
that's great information. I had a question about, I'm a map guy. I love the maps. I work with Naderveld quite a bit myself. So, and I like a key, and I'm trying to understand on the proposed lot splits that's shown, yeah, one page up. The orange outlines, are those are not to be the property lines? Is that correct?
Well, those are the property lines in part, except for the front lot line, okay? And the reason they show that is because one of the standards in the ordinance is what is the amount of square footage once you get back to a 50-foot wide front yard, okay? So if you look at that, those orange lines would show the amount of area after the 50-foot front yard setback, because there is a requirement under your ordinance that you have so much room back there. So that's what's that showing. The orange lines, though, would continue all the way to Bayview Drive. So the actual lot layout is a combination of the orange and the black, if you can follow what's happening as you get closer to Bayview.
Okay, the bold black line with the black dots at the bottom of the screen currently?
Correct.
Is that where the property line?
Will be.
That's
where it
that's
is
the
now.
edge of the right-of-way?
Yep.
Okay.
That is where it is now and where it will be, the front. So, and then if you follow those black lines and connect to the orange lines, that'll be the dimensions of each of those lots.
Okay.
And if I can just interject, also on this drawing, thank you for a very complete application. This is fantastic. So they've also, in the dashed lines, outlined the buildable lot area minus the required side, front, and rear setbacks. So that's super helpful. Also, you can kind of gauge where they're thinking the side lot lines are gonna be, the rear lot line and the front lot line. And so, yeah, the orange lines, we measure the property width at the front building setback. So that's what the orange lines were indicating, is the orange line was not indicating the front property setback.
It appears to me what they're doing is using the orange lines to determine portions of the properties that are at least 40 feet, which
Wide.
therefore, if it's over 40 feet in width, it can count towards the
That's right.
allowable
Square
lot,
footage,
or the
yes.
lot, square footage.
Correct.
Because anything smaller than 40 wouldn't count.
Right.
So in either case, their lots are large enough. They're showing some proposed buildings, but we don't hold them to that, but they are showing proposed setback lines. And it would be good if the board was so inclined to approve this, that they would indicate that the setbacks shown on this survey are acceptable as front, side, and rear lots.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry. I got a little dramatic there. I apologize.
It's exciting stuff.
No, because we face the front side and which one's the front and side lot lines. So I will ask my fellow board members at this moment, if I may, to, when a motion is made, to identify in the motion what is going to be the front side. And maybe I'll ask right now
They
our
are.
applicant.
They are labeled.
Oh,
Yes.
you have them already labeled. Thank
Yep.
you. Sorry.
Correct.
Thanks, Brad. Good. So, yeah, excellent to get those defined. Thank you.
Yes, we all appreciate the fine work that Naderville does, so that makes it easy for all of us, right? So,
Is there any question to the size of the houses that are for the lots or anything like that?
No, the houses are just to show as an example. It's not something we would hold them to. They would just have to meet the same dwelling size and building height requirements that are allowed elsewhere in the city.
Yeah, we just thought it'd be helpful. You can see how a driveway could conceivably work and how a house could be oriented, just so you know that it's possible, and it gives you a sense of scale.
Any other questions from our board for our applicant? Bill, thank you very much for,
Thank you.
again, for a complete application and for your explanation and your time today.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I would like to open the public hearing, and I would welcome anybody who would like to speak in favor of the application. Please come forward. Again, state your name and address. Or anybody who wishes to speak in opposition to this application, again, please come forward. Or if anybody would just like to
Speak it all.
speak up. Or
Here's your
forever-
chance to get on TV.
Or forever hold your peace.
Oh, yeah, advertising.
Yeah, I'm Lori Sisson. It's my in-laws' property, and I'm helping our family. My sister-in-law is the trustee.
Please, if I may, to the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
This is how it originally was, and I'm not exactly sure. At one time, my in-laws slowly purchased the property, and at one point, we're gonna build a very large house there, and then they looked at it and thought, that's kind of silly on a street where everybody has 50-foot lots, and they just kind of kept it as green space. But I think the understanding was that at some point, it would go back to, I think some of the kids were hoping to, get some of those parcels, 4 kids, 3 lots. So I'm asking you to please approve this. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the background, too, of the previous. All right, not seeing anybody else. I will close the public hearing and look for a motion from one of my fellow board members, please.
I'd like to make a motion to,
to approve the request being made by Mr. Jacobs with the shown front and rear lot lines.
Support.
We have a motion, we have support. Is there any further discussion or findings of fact to be reviewed, please? I think it meets all of the, do we need to review every single?
Well, I think it is helpful for the record. I think there was some discussion by the applicant about how it's consistent with some other properties in the neighborhood. If the board took that information and wants to articulate it and put it in the findings of fact portion of its findings, that will probably be helpful as well.
Okay,
Yeah, findings of fact, in regards to, kind of the compatibility of the proposed lots, sites, that is, very familiar with this neighborhood, and, I think that, we all agree that this will return it to, the original kind of, to match the rest of the neighborhood.
and it appears the parcel will have a minimum 20-foot wide legal access to the public street, and it will comply with the area and width requirements of the zone district. And it's compatible and harmonious, as you mentioned, to the character of the adjacent and nearby homes. And I don't believe we're seeing, we're not seeing any detriment to affect on adjacent properties. An additional curb cut should not have any negative impact on traffic or safety here. And it will be, the property will be served by city water and sewer, and the split will comply and conform to the Land Division Act, the city's master plan and code of ordinances. I think we've got them all covered now. All right. Any other discussion? We'll go for a vote, please.
All right, the motion is to approve Shay,
Yes.
Fuzak,
Yes.
Bedard,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Sorek.
Yes.
Motion to approve passes.
All right. Thank you very much. And next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes from December 1st, 2022. That meeting, that was a fun meeting. So anybody reviewed the minutes? I forgot I made one of the motions in there. So thank you for that
Make
reminder.
a motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and support. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Okay, and our next meeting date is February 23rd, 2023, at which time we will review, I guess, informally our bylaws, but our rules and regulations for the Board of Appeals, which we have a draft with some red lines, which will be in our packet next month. So please review them and be prepared to adopt some new rules next month.
Just say it, we have homework.
We have homework. Don't procrastinate, Dave. Looking for one more motion.
Let's adjourn.
We have a motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.